My name is Ruben Berg. I'm chair of the WFDF Ultimate Rules Subcommittee, and today I'd like to talk to you about the pick rule and the continuation rule that applies to that, which is a rule that often causes some confusion. And so there are two main situations involving picks, and that is when a pick has been called and the pass is caught, and the other is when a pick has been called and the pass is not caught. So the first one I want to talk about is when a pick has been called and the pass is caught. The first question you want to be asking yourself after that does occur is, did the pick affect the play? If the pick did not affect the play, then the pass stands, regardless of when the pick was actually called. The other key question around that you might want to ask is, did the pick call itself, the actual pick call, affect the play? Now that question only applies to picks that are called before the thrower was in the act of throwing. And again, if the pick call in that situation did not affect the outcome of the play, then the pass stands. So that's a really important thing to understand around picks that are called when the pass is being completed. Did the pick or the pick call affect the play? If we're talking about picks that are called and the pass has not been caught, the first key question you want to ask yourself then is, when was the pick called? If the pick was called during the act of throwing or while the disc was already in the air, then that is a turnover. It is always a turnover for picks that have been called while the thrower was in the act of throwing or while the disc is in the air. Whether or not it affected anything has no bearing. It's a turnover because the pick was called while the disc was in the air or while the thrower was in the act of throwing. If the pick was actually called before the thrower was in the act of throwing, then we have to ask ourselves this question. Did the pick call affect the play? So what does that mean? Did it affect the play? If the receiver had heard the pick being called before the thrower was in the act of throwing and had therefore stopped because of that pick call and the pass was thrown to them and they didn't catch it because they'd stopped, then that affected the play. If the receiver heard the pick call before the thrower was in the act of throwing and they knew that there was a stoppage, the pass is still thrown and they know it's coming to them, but they know that play is supposed to have stopped and they just run to catch it knowing that they're just going to give it back and they accidentally drop it as part of that, then the pick call affected the play and the disc will go back to the thrower. If all the players downfield know that there has been a pick called that was before the throw and so play has stopped and they stop cutting and then the thrower has no one to actually throw it to and they turn it over, then again the pick call affected the play. But if the receiver had no idea that a pick had been called and the thrower had no idea that a pick had been called and the pass goes to them and they try and catch it and they just drop it, then the pick call did not affect the play and the result of the play should stand. Also, if the thrower didn't know that there was a pick being called but they just throw it out of bounds, then the pick did not affect the play and again that turnover should stand. So the key question for picks that are called before the throw that result in a turnover is, did the pick call affect the play? That's the question the defense should be asking the offense, and it's up to the offense to decide whether or not it did affect the play. If there's a dispute over this, then the disc goes back to the thrower. If you want more details about this rule, go onto the WFDF rules website at rules.wfdf.org. You can find the rules there, have a look at them, and you can also ask a question on the rules discussion forum.